Hey, welcome back to the Cheap Air Gunner channel. It's Cherokee Steve. This particular video, as I kind of set up in the last video, is on the Crosman M4-177. Now, I picked up this gun just because I absolutely love the look of it. The M4 replica was something that really appealed to me. It was relatively very inexpensive. As you all know, it's a Crosman pumper. It's basically the exact same gun as a 760 Pumpmaster, except with one exception. The internals are all exactly the same. This particular gun has a rifle barrel, so it generally offers better improvement in accuracy over a 760 Pumpmaster, but just the styling itself is, something that really appealed to me. Just something fun to have. I did go ahead. I made numerous modifications. I have a video on this particular gun. I'm not going to get into everything too deeply. I made the typical valve modifications, taking the valve out and opening up all the ports. I did add quite a bit of things to the external of the gun. I've got a laser up front, and it's mounted on an angled Picatinny mount. As you know, or you probably know if you've done any research or watched any videos of this gun, the position of the Picatinny rail underneath the front in both the pump arm location and underneath the barrel here, or the barrel guard, leads it to be pretty useless, because as you open up the pump arm to pump the gun, it would make contact, but it doesn't on this particular setup, because I've installed it off-center to the side. Like I said, there's this 45-degree Picatinny rail that the laser mounts to, which allowed me to do that. Now, I did go ahead and pick up the model that had the carrying handle on it. I did pick up a special mount for the carrying handle so that I could add a scope to it. So not only does it have the laser sight, it has a scope. I did a very custom camo paint job on it. Probably the way I have the lights set up down here really isn't doing it justice. I've got the Punisher logo down here. It holds the magazine clip, holds a couple of extra pellet clips and a wrench for adjusting the sights. I do have it set up with the scope mount high enough so that you actually can pick up the open sights underneath. That's a nice feature. I thought that I included the back peep sight and the front adjustable sight are visible through the opening underneath the scope mount on the handle. I've got the same sling mount that I have on my KT-HPA mounted on here. This is actually, I had it on here first. This is what led me to make the decision to go ahead and mount one on the KT-HPA. It worked out really nice. Got a nice army green single point sling. It's got the adjustable buttstock. I went ahead and installed this handle underneath what would be the heat shield on the barrel, but this does help pump. It also has an opening in the back right here. This opens up and allows additional pellet storage. There's enough room here in the storage compartment, as I said, for an extra pellet clip. Each clip holds 5 pellets. I also keep an Allen wrench in there. The Allen wrench will fit the scope mounts, and I believe it'll also take care of the sling mount. There's not much else on here that would need an Allen wrench. Probably the laser sight attachment points. But, you know, not a huge amount of storage space in here. But like I said, there is enough for an additional clip. So besides, I could have one loaded in the loading port. I've got 2 in the magazine clip and 1 in the extra handle underneath the heat guard here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 total. That's 20 pellets I've got available for shooting just on the gun alone. So again, I would recommend picking up some extra clips if you pick up this gun, just because it's that much fun. Instead of having to pull out a clip, load it back up, just move on to the next one that is already loaded up and in storage. So let's see, what else do I have on here? That's really about it. I cut some clearance on the bottom of the handle so that it would leave Picatinny rail open here. This was all connected here. I cut out the plastic in between the mounting points so that I could mount the sling mount and maintain the handle. I have done all the typical, you know, the trigger modifications as far as buffing out whatever I could and greasing up contact points, whatever I could. It's not terrible. Really not a bad trigger for what it is. It's got the cross-action safety, as a lot of Crosman rifles have. It's just a super cool, super neat gun. And I'm going to show you a couple of velocities I just put over the Crony using some Hatsan Express 177 pellets. These are 8.18 grain. Now, one of the things I'd like to point out is the lower velocity that you're about to see, which is in, I believe, the 670s. Let's take a look at that. That velocity was achieved with 15 pumps. Now, the higher velocity I'm going to show you right now that 724 was achieved with 40 pumps. So there's, you know, as far as the difference in velocity that you're seeing and the number of pumps it took to get there, you know, in general, the gun is absolutely great as a pointer with decent power that 670 something velocity gets me just over 8 foot-pounds of energy. So, you know, as far as shooting it all day, target shooting, plinking cans, with decent power, definitely achieve that with 15 pumps. If for whatever reason I had this out and I spotted a squirrel or a rabbit, that's 724 feet per second velocity with the 8.18 Hatsan Vortex, not Vortex, Hatsan Express, well actually Hatsan Vortex Express pellets, will give me 9.5 foot-pounds of energy. Now that's borderline, but if I was close enough and had really good shot placement, probably could take definitely a rabbit. Squirrel, might think twice about taking, but you know, it's pushing out decent power. The thing that I would accumulate all of the modification process that has to be gone through, the amount of pumping that's needed, I kind of see similar aspects between going through all the modification work that's involved with opening up a valve, the type of improvement you're going to see with a 177 caliber pumper. It's similar to going ahead and modifying even a 22 caliber CO2. It's just, you know, as far as the CO2 goes, the increase in velocity you're going to see, in my opinion, when you go out and you buy an inexpensive Crosman CO2 gun, it's just not worth all of the work that goes in to modifying the valve and modifying the ports. You just see a gigantic increase in CO2 usage, and you don't proportionally see the increase in velocity. And it's kind of the same with a 177 Crosman pumper. You don't see, as far as the returns on all of that work that's got to be put in to opening up the valve and opening up the ports, taking things apart, reassembling everything. It's a lot of work without a lot of return, as far as I'm concerned. But the gun itself is just a super, super fun gun. Absolutely love the way that it turned out, as far as sitting down here in my basement plinking. I did have a 760 Pump Master. I think it is, my personal opinion is, a lot of people will tell you the exact opposite, but I think it's worth the improvement in accuracy and the improvement in looks, as far as going with the Crosman M4-177 over a 760 Pump Master. A lot of people will tell you it's not, but it's just a coolness factor that I think is worth it. But that's just me. Again, if you're more interested in finding out the exact modifications that I made to it as far as internals, there's a video I posted up quite a while ago, but it is on the exact same gun, and it gets much more into detail, including more into detail about how I painted the outside of it. But it is a super fun gun. I recommend it to anyone. It is a gun that is difficult to pump. So as far as for a child, it really depends. If you're borderline, if you've got somebody in their teens, anywhere in their low teens, that you're thinking about purchasing this rifle for them, I would recommend it at that particular age. Anything under that, it's really hard to pump. But just to be honest about that particular aspect of the gun, again, the coolness factor, I really enjoy shooting it and love the looks of it. So just a quick video diving back into a Crosman pumper, the M4-177. It's been out there now for quite a while, as they decided to add a little bit and to the 760 Pumpmaster, come out with a different version of it. I think it's pretty cool. If you do pick one up, I would recommend picking up some extra of the pellet clips. Because it has a rifle barrel, although it's capable of shooting BBs, I do not shoot BBs out of it. You could if you wanted to. And again, just a real cool plinker. You want to fire some shots and nail some pop cans. It's just totally cool. So, hope you enjoyed the video. You guys stay safe and shoot safe.